Hello, everybody, and welcome back. So, we are in a special interview here with Ekua, who's one of our sponsors, and she's a visibility coach. And she's going to tell us all about that and why you should approach her and speak to her lots at the Speaker Summit, which is happening the 3rd of July in London, 2026. And I just want to unpick her brains a bit here in this interview to find out what she does, how she does it, and why you need to talk to her. First of all, welcome, Ekua. Thank you for bearing with us. This is a part two. It started over on YouTube and LinkedIn, and then I kept crashing out. I think what happened is your awesomeness just blew the system, and therefore there
Was
wasn't
it?
room. That was it. There just wasn't any room for me because your awesomeness took over, kept booting me out of Riverside. So we had to come back and do this interview like this. So first things first, you started our last part one interview, which is you can watch it on YouTube if you want. I'm just not in it a lot. You started it with a story about being on the sidelines. So let's start there. Tell us about being the sidelines, and then what made you come across to attend the summit, and then now to sponsor. Give us that story.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much, Elliot. And yeah, so I have been watching the Speaker Summit for a while. I knew it's a place to be, a room to be, but I think it's one of those things where you should be there, but you're not quite sure whether it's the right space, the right room. And one year I decided actually I am more serious about speaking and being a professional speaker, and actually that's a place to be. So I decided, you know what, I need to just be brave and to invest in that room and to see how it goes. Do it once and see how it goes. And
Yeah.
I can honestly say it was one of the best things that I've ever done, because I not only invested in the summit, I decided to do it all, the summit and the awards. So I was like, do it once and then we'll see how that goes. But actually, it was brilliant. The community is wonderful. It's welcoming. There are people, speakers at all levels, and no one is not welcoming or friendly, and no one is trying to do anything like that's horrible. People are genuinely just supportive and wanting to making sure that we can all thrive, we can all refer each other, and we can all stay on top of what's happening in our industry.
Brilliant. And for you, what was the kind of highlight of the Speaker Summit last year as an attendee? What was your kind of like boom moment, aha moment, or your key, yeah, highlight?
Yeah, so for me, I think it has to be the
The
AI
host,
speaker.
I heard the host was very good. So yes,
I mean, the host obviously was amazing, and all the
okay,
rest of the team and all of the people that spoke, but the
but particularly the
AI,
host.
yes, of course, but I think it's James, the AI
Ah,
speaker.
yes,
Yes,
James Taylor.
James Taylor. I think that was a super powerful session, because I watched people who were next to me and how they were reacting was quite interesting, because we cannot get away from the fact that AI has permeated every industry, right? And the
Mm,
speaking industry is no exception. But what was fascinating was about how you can really like leverage and use it appropriately to do some of the admin, and actually get yourself more visible, which is the work that I do. But I think that the scale of what James showed us, to some people was a little bit overwhelming, and for others it was like, wow, there's such an opportunity to actually embrace this. And for myself, I was more like, yeah, this was a lot, but actually I see the opportunity to actually start to learn and investigate, because we don't have to do everything, but we do need to be aware that it's the genie's out of the bottle, so we have to like adapt, and we have to be able to move forward. And that's what I think is great about Speaker Summit, is it gives you that industry insights that keeps you on top of the game, that keeps you moving forward, that keeps you like really understanding what's current and what's now. And I've got to have to say, Maria Frandoni, like she is a phenomenal expert, and someone who gives you the real insights and no sugarcoating, because that's the kind of person you need to be able to learn from and to listen to, and be able to think, actually, wow, some of this thing it might feel a bit hard, but actually this is what I need to hear so that I can actually stay relevant and get booked.
very good. And so you made the leap, and you've come on board as a sponsor this year. So tell us what you do, and why people should come to your desk or your table during the summit. Go for it. Tell us all about what you do.
Oh, thanks, Elliot. So what I do is I really help speakers with their visibility, but not just as a LinkedIn coach. It's more of an inside out job. So what do I mean by this? Is that all of us are experts. We know our stuff, and that is not the issue. But what it can be a challenge, and what the work that I do is about, is two-pronged. So one is actually being able to ask to be paid, or ask to be able to make bigger commercial deals, potentially. And the second part of it is actually being visible and positioned to get those deals, to attract those deals, to have conversations about those deals, and to actually build that speaker pipeline. So the work that I'm doing isn't simply just about visibility. Visibility is like, I guess, the window, but behind that is actually how you actually have to be and behave, what you actually have to do, and then how you have to continually work on that inside out methodology of both being able to ask, but also to be found and have that digital footprint that allows you to get on the biggest stages in the world.
So, what mistakes are you seeing a lot of speakers do when it comes to visibility? Because you're not just a LinkedIn coach. So, what are you seeing that you're kind of like, oh no, my eyes, I can't look at that. Oh no, what are you doing? Tell us some of the mistakes you see. No naming though.
Would I do that?
I don't know. Would you?
I don't get spicy like that, but no. What I will say is, though, it's quite funny in that actually what I'm seeing is a lot of not seeing what I should be seeing. And I know this sounds quite a strange thing to say, because, people think that you can be too visible, that you can overdo it and somehow be spamming, your LinkedIn feed with speaker content. And I have to break it to you, that's not true. And what I find is it's converse. People are not sharing enough about their speaking products, services, experiences, testimonials, case studies, clips, photos, assets. They're underutilizing that. And what they're always saying to me is, I get good feedback and I'm not getting booked. And then I look at their profile and I see a lot of amazing business stuff, professional stuff. And that's all very good, but I have to search really far back to find any speaking stuff. I'm like, this is the problem. You can't be going all like guns blazing about the professional and the business stuff, but having a very sparse section on your speaker stuff. And that's a big problem that I find. So I call this the paid speaker visibility gap. It's the fact that you're out there, but you're not out there as a speaker. And that's one of the things I find. The other thing that I'm going to name and shame about, no names obviously, but is about the quality of the stuff that people are putting out there. So what I mean by this is the quality of the photos and the footage. So I love musicals, and Joseph and Technical Dreamcoat, it's like any dream will do. But not any photo or clip will do. I have to remind people, not any clip or photo will do, because in the beginning, when I first started out, I didn't realize this. I thought, I want to show evidence. I want to show that I have spoken, that people are booking me, and that is good. We obviously want to do that. However, we want to make sure that we think about how does it look, because what we're trying to do when we're trying to break the corporate market, especially, is they want a low risk, somebody who looks like they are the part. And being the part isn't about a beauty pageant. No, it's actually about making sure it's a quality product you're putting out there. So quality clips, quality photos, and that's another big mistake that I see, that people aren't being mindful that they are just kind of like rushing some stuff out there. Rather than putting like a subset of the best stuff. So I'm like, Tina Turner, simply the best. Just take simply the best clips and photos, even if it's 3 things or 2 things, but just rinse and repeat.
And I think, do you think there's some speakers actually are challenged in the sense they either don't know how to use the content they have, or because, for example, I can think of one speaker, she's got over 100 bookings a year, but she puts very little content out there. Do you think speakers often forget to create or to think in terms of social media content, and they're just busy speaking? Do you find that? Is that why they come to you?
So I don't think, so in the case of the people who are coming to me, I think they're not necessarily overly busy with speaking. They are speaking and they have that stuff. But I think what they're not doing is being strategic and thinking about how can they actually save time while doing this. I think they're always thinking that I've got to put out something new. And it's not about being new. It's about making sure that you understand and you're clear about what it is that you're providing in terms of, the topic, the outcomes, and all of that good stuff, and being able to slice and dice and reuse that stuff. Because remember, with LinkedIn or any social platform, it's a machine. You have to feed that machine. And
Hmm.
the point that I like to make to people is that you need to have current things coming through. So you need to have a cycle of current things. And even if it's similar, that is okay. But the point is that it needs to still be coming out on a regular basis. And one of the things that I find actually with people is actually, you can schedule things. People, I think, have a tendency to want to think that I've got to be there. I'm like, well, actually, you don't need to be there. You need to schedule it, and then you can come back to it at some point and engage and do all the rest of that stuff. But it does need to go out, and it's just having that mindset of like, it doesn't have, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time, and you don't have to spend a lot of time doing stuff. If you have a lot of bookings, it's actually just thinking about what is the quality stuff that I have. How can I just slice and dice and reuse that, and not reinvent the wheel, and actually use AI as appropriate to be able to help you to get a new spin on some of the things you want to say and repeat. Because actually, repetition is what gets you booked. You want to be a one trick pony. You want to be known for that one thing. So just keep repeating that one thing, and knowing that actually it's not boring, and most people aren't reading it, and not in the kindest way. People aren't going to necessarily see it every time, first time out, because as we know, the algorithm is algorithm, and sometimes it doesn't show who you think is going to see it. So actually, repeating that thing is just what you might need to do.
And coming to your table at the summit, what can people expect? What can they get? You can give them chocolates and biscuits. Well, tell us what's going to be on your table.
Wow. So one of the things that's going to be on my table is some copies of my book. I
Woo!
give away some books, and there's going to be a game. So if you come and play the game, you will get prizes.
Ooh.
But what I'm giving away, which I think is going to be super helpful to speakers at all levels, is places, in fact, 100 places to find speaking opportunities. When you come to my table, that's what I will give you. So you come and you sign up with the QR code, and that will be your prize for coming to say hello to me.
That's 100 places people can speak at.
Yes, yes.
Are these paid speaking? 100 paid
Not
speaking?
all paid speaking, but
Ah,
some.
I'm sure that's going to attract lots and lots of people into your funnel, into talking to you. Tell us a little bit about the book. What's the book you're giving away? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So this book is a guide for those who are looking to really understand how to build a paid speaking brand, but really fundamentally how to understand that, as I said, it's an inside out job, and how to have a paid speaker mindset. So what I mean by that is being proactive in being clear about your topic, the outcomes, and what you need to do, but also being confident about asking to be paid, to be pitching for opportunities. Because one of I think the things about the journey of being a professional speaker is that it does take grit and resilience, because we're not going to get every pitch accepted. And one of the things that the book goes into is really that mindset of being resilient and going again, and not taking that rejection as personal, because actually it's part of the process, and it takes a lot of pitches in order for us to get good at it, and in order for us to be aligned with the right rooms and opportunities.
Okay. And what level would you say your book appeals to? Like beginner, intermediate, or like super professional?
I think there's something for everyone. So, whilst you may already be doing this and have quite a big, um, solid system, I think the book reminds us on fundamentals, but it also helps us to leverage and lean into some of the things about, building commercial empires, and like leveraging speaking products, and ways that we can go from keynotes to programs and retainers and things of that nature.
Great. So just before we wrap this up, what are your three biggest, hottest tips for anyone watching this right now that can take away and do?
Okay. So, my biggest number one tip is always ask for more and negotiate, negotiate,
Okay.
negotiate, negotiate. Number two is that visibility doesn't have to be about reinventing the wheel. It can be boring. Use what you have and use the best stuff. And number three is actually be in community and be in networks like Elliot's and mine, so that you can get referrals and stay up to date with what's happening in the business.
Lovely. And if people want to connect with you because they can't wait to the summit, where do they go? What should they do?
Great. They should follow me on LinkedIn. So that's Ekua Cant. And yeah, I have all kinds of tips. And they should join me on the email list.
Okay. And is there on your LinkedIn, can they join your mailing list?
Yes, on my LinkedIn at the moment. In fact, they can join a free visibility challenge. So if you're looking to be more visible, then join us on the 23rd of March. It's a 7-day challenge where we're going to be posting every day about your speaking and how you are bookable.
Fantastic. Well, brilliant. Thank you for, of course, being a part of the summit. Thank you for your time today. We did it twice. One was more of a solo effort. Now, this time, at least I got to stay and interview you and hear your answers. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to seeing you and having some chocolates that are going to be on your table or biscuits. You haven't decided yet. But more than anything, I'm looking to see how people connect with you and how you support them in their journey of professional speaking. Ekua, thank you as always. I'm wishing you a lovely rest of the day, and I'm sure we'll speak again soon.
Thanks
Speak
so
to you
much.
soon.